And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of TED Talk Stamps. And if it looks like I'm sitting in a hotel room, it's because I am. I'm at the Marriott Bonvoy Hotel in Fort Worth, because right across the street is Park Hill Medical Center, Surgery Center, actually, and I'm having some more work done on my left eye. So I thought I'd better get this video done. Today I want to talk about the stamps of Bahawalpur. I hope I say that right. Bahawalpur is or was one of the princely states in India during British rule of India, and they have a very short postal history with less than 60 stamps to collect. And just briefly as a background to the history, the British East India Company, which was formed back in 1600, was an independent company. Of course, they were under British authority, but they were basically given free rein in India. And over time, they moved beyond just their trading in textiles and spices and whatnot, and they got involved in the politics and government also, and they built up their own army, and they started taking over the governments of areas of India. And in 1757, after the Battle of Plassey, I believe it's called, the British won that battle, and they effectively became, well, not the British East India Company won the battle, and they effectively became ruler over all of India. Jump ahead 100 years, and in 1857 came the Indian Rebellion, where the natives had an uprising against the East India Company rule. And that's when the British Crown, under Queen Victoria, they finally stepped in and said, listen, we'll handle it from here. And so 1857 ended the rule of the British East India Company, but began the actual British imperial period. Now, there were over 500 of what are known as princely states in India, or in that area, the Indian territory, the Indian subcontinent. Princely states being, of course, just areas run by a prince. One of these princely states was Bahawalpur. And in 1933, the Prince of Bahawalpur decided he wanted to have his own postal system, and he petitioned the British imperial government to allow their own postal system. And in anticipation of getting this approval, they ordered a set of stamps from De La Rue in London, and this is what they look like. However, the British authorities did not ultimately grant them the authority, and when they found out that they had these stamps produced, they put the kibosh on it, and they were forced to withdraw the stamps. Very few of them were actually used on mail between government departments, and so finding any of these, especially on cover, will run you into the thousands of dollars. Mint copies aren't quite as expensive. The first one, number 1L1, the L meaning it's a local issue, it only catalogs at $25 mint, though the other six are split 3 and 3, 3 at $250 and 3 of them at $500. And I haven't been able to find any of them for sale on either on Hipstamp or eBay. Anyway, Bahawalpur kept pestering the British authorities for their own stamp issues. Finally, in 1945, the British relented and authorized a set of stamps for official use only. And so they issued this set, which was basically the same set as the 1933 locals, but in different colors and overprinted for official use in red. Also, the lowest value of the local stamps, the state crest and shield, that was replaced with a second camel design. Now, as you know, in 1947, India got partitioned into the Dominion of India and Pakistan. At the time, there were 565 princely states, and they were all given the choice of choosing whether to remain with India or Pakistan, or to remain independent. Bahawalpur was the first one to choose to go to Pakistan, and this happened in October of 1947. And as is usually the case with new countries or independent countries, they issued their set of stamps for regular mail finally in December of 1947. They issued this stamp commemorating the 200 years of the ruling family of Bahawalpur. Again, these stamps were produced by De La Rue, and again, they were very beautifully produced, fine engravings and nice, colorful, ornate borders. However, as Bahawalpur was not part of the Universal Postal Union, the stamps were still limited to internal use only. In April of 1948, this stamp was followed by a set of 14 stamps with vignettes featuring some prominent buildings and some of the princes. This set was followed in October by another set marking the first anniversary of their union with Pakistan, and also this single stamp picturing soldiers of 1848 and 1948. In March of 1949 came a set picturing cultural and industrial icons in the state. And then finally, in October of 1949, a set of 4 marking the 75th anniversary of the Universal Postal Union. Now, none of the stamps are particularly expensive. The high value of that 14 stamp set only catalogs in Scott at $50 mint, while all the rest of the stamps catalog at $10 or less. And of course, actual retail prices are much lower than that. Used stamps, though, are another matter. None of the stamps were used outside of the country of Pakistan, and evidently very few were used internally for that matter. The UPU set, all 4 stamps, they catalog at $5 a piece used, but the others are all much more expensive. They all catalog at least $20, many of them at $40 to $80, and they go on up to $300. Because of the wide spread in the value between mint and used stamps, you have to be mindful of the possibility of faked cancels when shopping for used copies. As you see here, these are the few used copies that I have. And you'll notice that they all have smeared and illegible cancels, which will lower the value. With these used stamps, if a dealer is asking a high percentage of catalog value, you want to make sure that they have legible cancels with dates within the period of use, and these were in use until 1953. So there you have it, the stamps of Bahawalpur. I think this is a great set for anyone looking to build a complete country collection, as between the regular issues and the official issues, not counting the locals, there's only 57 stamps to collect. And they are all beautifully designed stamps with high quality production. And I believe they make a great addition to any collection. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the stamps of Bahawalpur. I'm currently working on another episode by suggestion of a viewer on all those countries who issued stamps from offices in the Levant or the Ottoman Empire. That should be pretty interesting, I think. So I hope you'll stick around for it. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be notified as soon as that episode goes up. Until then, this is Ted the Talking Stamp Collector, wishing you all happy stamping.